How you guys doing? Welcome back to another video. Today we are covering OKX. It is an exchange platform, but we are going to be zooming into OKX Jumpstart, which is the OKX Launchpad, which means that you will be able to invest in early crypto projects. Now this one can be a bit overwhelming, right? We're talking about OKX, a huge crypto ecosystem and exchange platform. So this Launchpad is only a small piece of the puzzle. So there's a lot of things we have to go over. I'm gonna go and do a complete review of the OKX Jumpstart Launchpad to see if it is worth your time, and we're gonna do a price prediction as well. So if that is what you're looking for, then you're at the right address. Sit tight, relax. We're gonna dissect the entire project, see if you should get into this, yes or no. So let's get started. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining me again today. Before we move forward, please make sure to like and subscribe. It really is appreciated. We're working towards those 700 subs. So also in return, I'm not a financial advisor, so always perform your own due diligence. All of this is just not financial advice and educational purposes only. All right, let's get into this. So OKX, like I said before, it is a big crypto exchange. We'll be able to buy, sell, etc. So buy crypto, how to trade, and why to choose OKX. Now, over here, there are a bunch of other utilities you can do on OKX. We're not going to get into it. Jumpstart is one of the utilities of this ecosystem. As we can see over here, it has a lot of followers and 12 projects currently. It is quite new. It hasn't been around for an eternity. And of course, here you will be able to invest your money into these early crypto projects to get those big returns. Now, it is quite convenient that they are on an exchange because you'll be able to get your tokens, and on the same platform, you can go ahead and invest. So it's actually really cool. And we're just going to go over the first things first, and that is the tiered system. How much do you have to actually pay to get started with this Launchpad? Now, the tiers are over here, and they are done with snapshots 3 days before the IDO begins. So 3 days before, random snapshots will be taken of your wallet to see what tier you belong in. Now, the first tier is going to be from 0 to 10 OKB holdings, all the way up to 2,000 to beyond. And depending on how many OKB you have, your allocation will be decided. So if you have anywhere between 0 to 10, you will get 1. Right? If you have anywhere between 500 to 1000, you can get anywhere between 15 to 30, right? So quite simple. Over here, right? It can go 40, it can go 20. They have an example over here. Let's read that real quick. For example, user A with a 3-day OKB holdings of 50 to 2000, and one with 3,950. So the minimum holdings within 3 days of users is 50 OKB, right? That's the minimum of all the users. And the corresponding allotment coefficient is 16. The average holding within 3 days of users is 2000 OKB, right? That is 50 plus 2000 plus 3.950 slash 3. And the corresponding allotment coefficient is 20, right? So what they do here is they take the minimum, they take the average, and depending on that, your allocation will be decided. So every single IDO will be different depending on how much OKB there is in total, right? One thing is for sure, the more OKB you have, the bigger your allocation will get automatically. But also, if you participate in a project where there's not a lot of money staked, and you're one of the bigger stakers instead of one of the smaller ones because of that, you will also get a bigger allocation. So it doesn't just depend on what you invest, it also depends on how big is the pool, how many other people participate, etc. Right? So how much money are we actually talking, right? How much is one OKB? Well, currently, that is around $16, right? For the first token. One token, around $16 or so. That means that if you want 10 of these, you'll already be looking at more than $100 US. And that is just the first category. Now, you have you'll need about 500 to be around the medium, right? To really get in there with a good allocation. So, well, 500 times 15, you do the math. We're talking about some serious money. This is definitely not a cheap Launchpad, and there's a reason for that, right? Because we're talking about a big, well-established team, crypto platform, and Launchpad. We're talking about launches that have performed quite well in the past. So even though we're in a bear market, we're going to be looking at expensive prices, which is just normal, right? You're paying for that little bit of class, that little bit of security, right? Because we're not investing in some tier 3 Launchpad, we're investing in OKX. So you're going to feel that price sting a little bit. So if you're a smaller investor, this Launchpad might not be for you, right? Because if you only get one token, that's not going to give you a decent allocation. I mean, look at this. People are going to be staking thousands of OKB, right? So if you cannot afford at least 100 OKB, then this Launchpad is not really going to give you any meaningful returns. I mean, relatively, right? It depends on what you feel like are good returns. Anyways, this is the tiered system. You can look at it a little bit more if you need more examples. One thing that is interesting to note down is if you have a Clay City NFT, it's all looking a bit different, right? You have their own tier system with an extra coefficient. So this NFT will basically give you boosts in your coefficient allocation if you want to participate in this Launchpad. Now, what exactly is this NFT? We're talking about Clay City. We can quickly look that up, see what that project is all about. While that is loading, let's see. Clay City. Yeah. So this is just a completely different project again. I don't know why I'm getting this Earth globe thing. I'm not really able to see anything, but let's see. Yeah, well, I can't see anything, but I assume that they have a bunch of NFTs. If you get one of these NFTs, then this will give you privileges, right? Extra coefficient. So here's a step-by-step guide on how to actually do that with some more examples. All of this is just like, no one is actually going to read this. This is just for disclaimer purposes only, right? So I encourage you to not really look at the actual sums and the calculations too much. Okay, and then here we have the tokenomics, but we'll get to that later when we go to the white paper. But this is not the tokenomics of OKX. So this is of the other project. Anyways, quite vague, pretty weird article, but there you go. These are the tiers, right? So now that we have the tiers under control, we know basically what we have to do. Let's quickly go to the step-by-step guide on how to get these tokens and what to do with these tokens. And then we'll look at the project, see if it's worth it in the first place. So we have an FAQ over here, pretty comprehensive, right? How can I participate in Jumpstart? First, you need to create an OKX account. So that will be your first step. You can do that on the website or log in with an existing account. Second, please make sure you have completed the LV2 KYC verification. You cannot complete this when you're in the United States. So that is very unfortunate for the investors over there. If you're not in the United States, very simple process. So you have to complete the KYC. Last but not least, you need to hold a certain amount of OKB. Well, we just looked at that. And then, of course, you will have to stake these OKX tokens. And you can do all of that over here on the website also, right? You can go ahead, move over to staking, stake your tokens, very, very simple stuff. All right, so we now have a clear understanding of what OKX is. We know what the tiers are. We know how to get started. Should we? Right, that's the big question now. So the first thing we look at when reviewing a Launchpad is the projects. How did the projects perform in the past? And are there any current projects live right now? That's going to be the biggest indication to see how the future will perform. So I actually brought a couple of examples with me today. These are some of the IDOs that OKX have done in the past, right? OKX Jumpstart, you can see it over here on CryptoRank. So I got two for you guys, right? Not a lot, I know, but we're just going to start with two examples. So this was a IDO from 2022, late April. So that's not even that long ago. And we can see that the IDO performed quite poorly, only a 2.6x at the all-time high and a 0.48x ROI average over here. So that means that most of these tokens were sold at a 50% loss. There's no vesting schedule release over here and no vesting over there either. So we don't know what exactly happened with the vesting. All we know is that unless there was a 100% TGE, these investors did not make any profits, right? That is a given. if you have 0.48x, that just means you didn't make any profits, right? Unless that is if you had a 80 or 100% TGE, but that usually doesn't happen. So this was not a good project. Then again, we're in this bear market, so there is some form of excuse for it. There's a lot of projects that don't perform well, but then again, you cannot just put everything on the bear market. This was a poor project. Now, what about this one? Element Black. This was also quite recent, April 2022, late April, a couple months ago. We can see here a very high all-time high at 21x. The raise from OKX Jumpstart was quite big as well, 280,000. Nothing compared to what TokenSoft did and all that. So they were the smallest pool, but still a quite significant pool. Nevertheless, if you compare it to like tier 3 and tier 2 launchpads, it's definitely a larger sized pool. Okay, so overall, the ROI right now is 0.93, which is a loss, but not a very big loss. And looking at how high the all-time high was, probably investors already made their profits. Again, no vesting schedule released, but I assume that there was at least some TGE unlock. Usually that's the case. That would have meant that most of their profits would have already came back to them, because even if there's a 10% TGE, you'll have 21x, so you already made back your money. If you sell the rest at a very slight loss, then you still walk away with total profits. So this seems to be a much better project thus far. This was Element Black. So yeah, thus far 2 projects, both performed okay. This one not so much, this one a little bit better. But for the bear market, we're looking at some pretty okay projects. Now, that is definitely a trend with OKX. They do not a lot of projects, right? They are an exchange. They're not just a launch, but so they don't have that pressure of constantly pushing out. They even put it in their description. They're like, look, we post crypto projects from time to time, right? That's what we do. We do events. We do it from time to time. So what they do is they really, really vet out their project. They're very picky on what they put on their Launchpad, and they don't post often, but when they do, they bring out a project that actually looks good, right? All of these projects look good, and thus far their performance is quite good also, right? Here we see their highly historical yield that's put on the website. So this one did 1.8,000% at the highest historical yield. This one 500%, 500%, 14.3,000%, 2.1,000%, and here 730%. So those are high yields and professional looking projects. Now again, if you want to participate in a launchpad that is constantly launching every single day or every single week, then OKX is not for you, because that is not their goal. It's not their vision, right? You have to get into this with the right mindset of, maybe we do one project a month, maybe we do one project every 2 months, but when we do the projects are going to be of high quality, right? That is the mindset of OKX. So if that's not what you're into, then this launchpad probably isn't for you, right? Large investments, large returns, good projects, don't invest often. That is OKX for you, right? And that is something you just have to understand before investing, that this is what you're going to get. Now, if that's what you want, then great, right? They have a bunch of other projects as well. They did Sys, Woo, Deeft, Toncoin, Gods, and OKT. So they did their own launch that's not incredibly uncommon. Every launchpad really does that. Clicking on the page, you will get all of the information regarding the IDO. You will see how many followers it had, the total rewards, and how it works. So start mining and processing. So here you see the total staking, which was a lot, by the way, 204,000 OKB. That is, more than 300K, depending on when this was. It was a while ago, so I assume that the price was a bunch higher, right? Yeah, if it was anywhere around here, we're talking maybe 1 million raised, right? So yeah, good raise over there. And they do this with every project. You can click on it and you will get all of the information you need. Really, really sophisticated, and it looks very pretty, right? You can do it with Taki as well. Click on Taki, you'll have the project info, you have the private sale price, you have the dates, and all of the tokens that are being done. Okay, so looking at the projects real quick, like I don't want to put too much time and effort into it, but we don't have any active projects right now. So all we can really do is look at these older projects. So the least we can do is actually move over to one of their websites and just see, what are we seeing? What kind of projects launch on OKX? Now, this is Taki, own your token-powered social network. So here you can claim tokens. They have stats, wiki, and a blog. So there's not a lot on the website right now. Engage and earn. Taki is a token-powered social network where everybody can own, manage, and earn their own income by participating in community conversation. Right. Okay. So there's not a lot on the website because there's an app. Gotcha. So you can create your own crypto coin, start earning by participating in like-minded communities, and increase your earnings as your popularity grows. It's a pretty unique initiative. Here's a team. It's fully doxed, looking quite professional. LinkedIn is there also. Here we have their investors. So Coinbase and CoinDCX, OKX, where these are big companies. Solana, they're all investing into this project. So that are, they have some big tier 1 level backers. So this is just a very good looking professional project. And again, that ties back into what I said earlier, that OKX does these good projects, right? Well vetted, and in a bear market, even launchpads like OKX, they're going to have projects that don't do so well. You always have those, right? They're inevitable. But for instance, Taki is thus far one of their worst IDOs so far. And in my opinion, they did pretty well. So that's it for the projects. Looking pretty solid again. Want to reiterate, they don't have anything right now. How to stay up to date if they do post something, their Telegram announcement channel is probably the best way to go about it, but they should also post new IDOs over on their Twitter. So both are good places to go and follow OKX and OKX Jumpstarter to stay up to date. All right, now we have looked at the projects and the tiers. Let's move over to the actual price of OKX, a little bit of the overall overview of the project as it stands right now. We're also going to speculate on the price to see if this is the best time to get into this launchpad, or if it's better to wait and get into it if the price maybe goes lower, or what we can expect this token to do in the near future. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Before we do, however, please make sure to like if you didn't do that just yet. Really do appreciate that. All right, let's get into it now. So right now, $15.5. That's what the price is at. It's ranking at 50, which is really high. 63,000 investors have it on their watch list. Market cap is at nearly 1 billion. It's currently at 933 million. So that's easily one of the biggest market caps I've ever seen or I've ever done a review on. The fully diluted market cap is at 4,695 million. And the volume is 18K, right? Big company, wasn't a surprise to any of you, right? So this is definitely a launchpad with one of the biggest market caps out there. But that's of course because it's not just a launchpad, right? They're an exchange that have a launchpad, which is really, really important to actually understand when you're investing into OKX, right? Because the price of the token you're going to be buying for the launchpad is barely connected with how the launchpad is performing. It's connected to the market and it's connected to the OKX ecosystem, right? So very important. Now, the price right now is definitely not at an all-time low, which is surprising, right? It's surprising to me that they used to be much lower, even though right now we've been in a bear market for months and months on end with no end in sight. So most projects are in and around their lowest point. OKB token is actually doing very well, quite a significant amount above their all-time low. Recently, they had a bit of a pump. Price went all the way up to $21. Has come down since then, but they came from $11 and $10, and we're right now still $5 above that. Now, looking at their all-time high, as you can see, it was nowhere near their TGE, right? They've been around $1 for a very long time. Spiked up to 12, 17, and then came their TGE. It was very brief, and they nailed around $40 or so. So very, very high spike. After that, it did crumble down a bit. But, they have many different spikes. it went down, it went up, it went down, it went up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, right? So what we can see every time I see a chart like this, right, like OKB, the first thing I say is, look, man, if it bounced up and down this many times, then what are the odds it's not going to do it again, right? The pattern of this token is the same almost every time, right? They don't really seem to be having any exceptions. So let's take this most dramatic one as an example, right? We have this dramatic spike, and then it goes down, but then it goes up again, and then it goes down, and then it goes up again, and then it goes down, and then it goes up, and then it goes down, right? So what you really want to do with a token like this, and again, this is not financial advice, it's educational purposes only, and it's speculation most importantly, but what you want to do with tokens like this is buy in these dips and then sell at these highs. And because the pattern is always the same, it's very easy to do that with tokens like OKB. Now again, if you don't want to sell your tokens for profit, but you want to use your tokens for an allocation, in these dips is when you want to buy them and stake them for your allocation, right? You don't want to buy them at one of these highs, right? Look back at the chart. It's been the same every time. They arrive at one of the highs, then they go down. So you want to buy over here. So is right now a good time to buy? To be completely honest with you guys, no, I don't really think so, right? We're currently still in the process of going down, right? Here we had the big peak, right? We came from here, $11, big peak. Here was the height of that peak at $22, and now we're still coming down from that. And at the moment, I feel pretty confident that we're just gonna keep going down for a little bit more until we arrive back at kind of where we were earlier, and then another spike will come. So that will be a better entry point, right? You actually see someone here, 24th of August, saying, I will buy when it's cheaper. Actually had the exact same tactic, which is pretty funny. I didn't read the CoinMarketCap reviews yet. Someone here saying, my friend just panic sold the coin today. I think it was, I want it instead then. Yeah. So really, this token has such a predictable path, crypto predictable, right? So I think we can really find that cheap price to get into. So right now, I would say, yeah, I mean, it's a better entry than $22, but I think we can do better than that. I think anything below $13 would be a good entry. And if you want to get into the Launchpad, it is worth waiting. It's not like you're going to miss out. I mean, they don't do that many launches. So wait for that perfect time. If you want to get into the Launchpad, then it would be the best time to buy. But of course, that is quite basic. So I'm not going to go and linger on that too much. That would be my advice, right? So let's move over to that CoinMarketCap sentiment. We can see that everybody is super bullish, right? And in crypto, but especially in a bear market, that is so important because that is the backbone of the price, right? These supporters that even when times are rough are over here bullish on a project. Now that is what's going to drive the price up every single time that it goes down, right? Because if you have that steady community of people that believe in the project, that are bullish on the project, then every single time the market drives the price down, it is going to be these people that will pump it back up because they buy when it's low, all right? So CoinMarketCap sentiment actually really important, and the sentiment is positive, and the token movement is predictable and stable. So I'm actually really bullish on OKB, and I actually think that participating in their Launchpad is most profitable when you buy in one of their low points, so you get the allocation for cheap. Now, overall, the projects are performing mediocre, but that is mostly due to market conditions. I think that when we do get more bullish, the projects are going to go to the moon with incredible returns, and getting into that Launchpad now, especially like if you can get it for about $11, you'll get it so cheap, and in the bull run, we'll easily see another $30 for OKB. So do it now, get your allocation, get that thing cheap, so that when the market gets better, you're there, and you really don't want to miss it. And that's my opinion, of course. All right, so that is it for the token. Now, how many people hold it? We see that it almost has 50,000 holders of the OKB token. Can imagine, right? So all of these are stuck in contracts, and over here the real investors start. So we see, obviously, as expected, most of the top 50 have above $300,000 invested, right? So again, we're talking about big investors, these big chunky whales that are holding these tokens. Now, I always say this in every review, but do not make your judgment whether you should get into a Launchpad or any crypto project based on other people. But always do take it into consideration. I mean, if they put so much money into it, then they must have done their research, then they must have a lot of faith in it, and they must probably be quite experienced traders. So don't judge your whole opinion on it, but keep it into account. It's a good green flag. All right, so that's about it for the holders. And of course, the transfers are going insane because it's an exchange, right? So every single hour, we have the transfers being made. I do have to say, I did expect it to be a bit higher for an exchange, right? So actually quite a low volume. If we look at the all-time high, we see here they used to reach around 500 mil in volume. Right now it's only at 15 mil. So there's not that much movement in tokens, which is of course normal for a bear market, but I'm really surprised by how little transfers are being made. It's not necessarily something really bad, but yeah, it is an observation I did not expect to see. All right, so with that all out of the way, let's take a quick look at their social media. We have to find out how active really are they, how do they communicate with the community, and investigating the community sentiment just a little bit more. And Twitter will also give us an overview of any important updates surrounding OKX that we might have missed. So let's get into this right now. All right, so over on their Twitter, they have 1.5 million followers, so that's a big Twitter, of course. They've posted on the 27th of August, they actually pinned it. This is regarding the Ethereum merge, which is upcoming. How is OKX planning to provide a seamless trading experience through the Ethereum POS chain upgrade? TLDR, we will monitor the merge closely to make sure minimal products are affected, but recommend you manage your position and risk accordingly. So of course, Ethereum merge coming for any exchange. It's a very exciting time for any investor also. So they updated their community about that, which is good. Jeremy says your customer support is the worst. Oh, well, it is what it is. So again, over on their Twitter, it is a lot about OKX as the exchange. So if you're looking specifically for their Launchpad, right, OKX Jumpstarter, it's a bit more difficult to filter the information, but I do believe that they update IDOs on their main Twitter also. But it's just a lot of other fluff that is, on their Twitter. So it's hard to find out when the IDOs are getting launched. Again, Telegram will be a better position. It will be easier to find it there. But for everyone using Twitter, that is a bit of a minus, right? You have to go and find where the IDOs get announced. So that's a bit difficult, but overall though, I mean, their Twitter looks good. The company is very actively working, and in the bear market, good things tend to happen. Companies tend to build and to grow, and they appear to be building on their Launchpad quite heavily. And, if they continue to build on this silently, not necessarily launching that much or posting that much over on their Twitter, but just building it and making it all nice and ready for the bull run, that's when we're going to take our profits, right? So it's absolutely fine that they're just taking their time working from the sidelines. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And as far as their Twitter concerns, it's fine, right? It's looking good. They also do have a Medium. And yeah, they post quite some articles here and there, right? This is, for instance, OK Exchange, one of the best exchanges. I don't think this is their official Medium, but they do have a bunch of articles, about them. Problematic though, on their website, all of their links basically don't work. Medium doesn't work, not clickable. Their Twitter doesn't work either. Facebook, nope. Reddit, nope. So all of the links don't work. I had to find everything myself. So yeah, that's a bit annoying. Now, at the end of this video, which is now, we're usually looking at the price prediction. So how about we go ahead and do that right now? So again, I already looked at the token and I told you guys that we're seeing this clear pattern and that I expect the pattern to repeat itself. And if you ask me, what do you think the price, all-time high price could be in the next bull run? Again, you're right, that depends. I think it will repeat the last bull run, right? Over here, we saw these all-time highs, we saw these spikes, and I don't think it will be much far off. I think it will be much the same, really. The real question, of course, is when is that bull run going to be? And I don't have a glass bulb. I don't know, but I'm fairly certain it will have the same path. So that's again why everyone is so bullish, because the infrastructure is there, and the token path has always been the same. So we're all collectively quite sure that it will have the same spike that it did the last bull run. The real question, of course, is when is that next bull run going to be? But instead of speculating about that, how about we look at an actual professional price prediction over here on crypto news? News. Okay. OKB forecast market sentiment says, according to our OKB price forecast, a long-term increase is expected. The price prognosis is for 2026 is $89 with a 5-year investment. Sorry, no, this is 89K. Sorry. With a 5-year investment, the revenue is expected to be around plus nearly 400%, which is very high. Now, this is Wallet Investor. Digital Coin Price says, based on our OKB forecast, the token may sustain upside momentum despite volatility resides in cryptocurrency market. OKB cryptocurrencies may hit a maximum of $25. The minimum price might be around $21 by the end of the year. So this one is a lot more bearish in that sense, right? And I think I kind of agree with this one over here, right? With the price prediction of digital coin price, because at the end of the day, it's quite bullish to just assume that we're gonna get this bull run this year, right? This year is full of just bleep, right? It's a bleep year, so to just assume, oh, we're gonna get that bull run and things are gonna go crazy and we're gonna have $1,000. I don't see it happening personally. Of course, that is. So I think the bull run will wait on itself until either very late 2022 or 2023. When it happens, yeah, OKB is gonna go crazy. That's like nearly a guarantee, right? But when is it gonna happen? Not anytime soon. So I agree with this particular price forecast more than any other, right? $54 a year, that's only possible if that bullish sentiment comes back, and I don't see that happening anytime soon. Anyways, you guys, that is just about it for the OKX Launchpad. We looked at OKX Jumpstart, which of course, has got quite some media attention when it just came out. The media attention really lowered down after that. Bear market set in, Launchpad started struggling. OKX started focusing more over on their exchange side of things instead of on their Launchpad side of things, because Launchpads are bleeding. However, behind the scenes, they are building, and the Launchpad is still launching here and there. And, the main idea here is to survive and to perfect the Launchpad and, be there with the bull run when the Launchpads are going to go crazy. So that seems to be the tactic of OKX, and I can only agree with it. Now, again, looking at the price prediction we did, there are some good entry points right now. Pick the time when the price is even lower than $15 to enter, and you will probably not regret it when the bull run hits and the project starts taking off. All right, everybody, that was just about it. So thank you so much for joining me today. Really do appreciate that. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Ciao, ciao. Bye-bye. Take care.